Welcome to another installment of Trace Your Future with Refiloe. We are sitting with Noko Malatjie, and he is dripping swag in studio today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Refiloe, for having me.
We know you're a busy guy, and we're not going to waste your time. But more than that, for those that don't know about your Eyewear, like if they were to ask you just 3 words to describe the allure of the brand.
3 words. 1, timeless. 2, self-expression, ultimate self-expression. 3, legacy.
Legacy. I'm gonna pick it up from that.
Yeah.
Legacy in the way that is the legacy you want to leave, or are you where you've always wanted to be when you thought about what you want to leave your mark on earth?
That's such a great question. It's funny that you're bringing it up. I always like to say I've always had a great sense of leaving positive impact, and I do that through the work of my hands. Well, I call it my God-given call to create, right? And the biggest thing that I want to leave is because the industry that we operate in is there's less or not enough representation of African Black designer eyewear. So what I want to leave as my legacy is having to pioneer a movement where we're showcasing African craftsmanship throughout the global platform. So that's what I'd love to leave as a testament of ambition for the company and the brand.
You had me at Craftsmanship because I am looking at this beautiful collection, and that's I think that's the thing that stands out the most. Can you talk us through some of the
collection?
Yes, please.
So this is not actually the collection. The collection is gonna be launched early October.
Okay.
It's coming October.
Okay, yeah, just in time, hey, for those summaries.
Yeah, just in time for everyone who wants to look good for the summer season. But for over here, so I'll start with this frame because it's very personal. I did this for a woman that I love.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
So it's your Touch Mahal.
Yeah, no. So this frame, I never think about it. I just get emotional. Right. Her name is Import. She's right here on studio too. Right. So she also has an eyewear impairment, so was struggling with eyesight. But obviously, because I have taste, and I'd like that to have something that's gonna be, I call it an investment piece, as you can just touch and feel it.
Yeah. Okay. There's
the weight, the substance, but also it's very intentional. So everything that we do as a brand, as a company, it works through intentional. It has to be intentional. It has to be thought-provoking. It has to speak to that person's individual self-expression, personality, creativity. So this frame, I wanted something bold, which has a very bold character, right? But she also stands out. She's easily relatable, as you can see. She's very, very creative also. So I just wanted to present something to her that's gonna be an investment piece that she can use today and the next decade. So, but in terms of the products, you're getting me started. So, how we work, we work with a traditional method of manufacturing. So what that means, I'm gonna get a bit technical. So eyewear. So okay, just quickly tell me, what do you know about eyewear? Like mazaza, like sunglasses. How do you what's your overall impression?
Well, I also have a particular taste, so I always look for fit and frame, and I think the whatever they call them, those things need to be bold. Temples need to be bold.
Yes.
I also know that it needs to protect me from the sun's rays.
Yes.
And it's because I can't drive without wearing, so I'll take any pair that's in the car, but usually it's the detail in the stylish way it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then would you have an idea of somewhat how these things are made?
Not at all. Absolutely
like
not.
A wild idea?
No.
Zero.
No.
Okay, so because of that, that's why we so focused on showcasing African craftsmanship, because there's lack of representation of African styles within the eyewear industry. So if you would know, well, most in European countries, people know how eyewear is made because the skills transfer. There's manufacturing plants there. There's designers, of all calibers. But I thought, why don't we have the same infrastructure, so that when we design something to the global stage, already people are loving African patterns, our heritage, our culture. But how about something that's everyone uses?
Mm.
4 out of 10 people use prescriptive eyewear. 9 out of 10 people use sunglasses. So that's roughly throughout the whole population, right? But why is there such a lack of representation of African eyewear or African designer eyewear, right? And it's because of a variety of reasons. So what we wanted to do is start a brand that people can start having an influence into the design of it. So what we do, we'd sit down, for example, if you like thicker temples, right, so that it holds your weight, right? So we'd sit down with you in terms of what colors you want, what style of, so whatever that you have in your mind, whatever that idea, we turn it into something tangible. But we walk you through the design process, and that's very important because you can have a brand or a product that you were well in tune with, from idea to the production to the final product. And what lacks currently in the industry is people just buy ready-made products, and they can't really relate to what
How
product
it
it
was
is,
made.
what also the kind of material was it made from, what kind of traditional design or manufacturing, what it forms under. So as you can see from this style, we have like very subtle signatures, but we also want to give off a very luxurious and timeless feel, so that when someone wears this 10 years down the line, it doesn't feel like it's overrated. So most of our research and development goes into that, making sure that we create a statement piece that survives throughout all the times, throughout all the trends, right? And if you were to describe this frame for me without you having to understand why I made it, what would you say?
Sturdy.
Sturdy, right? What's another thing?
Bold.
Bold.
Yeah, and thick.
Right? So as most of the Western world, they know us as bold, right? Strong, and that's what we wanted to showcase with the product. Especially if, let's say, there's a European, citizen, but who's born in SA or anywhere in the African region. When they look at this, they're gonna resonate with being bold, and being bold is closely associated with being at home, right? And with this product, we have this Y symbol. Can you just take a wild guess where? So,
African flag.
Right on the spot, right? But why is it so important for us to show this? Is because we want to control our own narrative, right? We're so used to buying designer brands, Tom Fords, your Ray-Bans, but what product have you bought? Which product have you bought that has an African signature, especially in the eyewear industry? None, right? Even if they are there, there's lack of representation of them. It's either they can't survive throughout the years. It's getting, because the eyewear industry is very competitive. So when we went with this Y symbol, it means convergence. It's also from the South African flag, and convergence means let's get together, right? And which means wherever part of the world you are, if you want to closely find yourself with connection, we're trying to resonate with that, with our products, with our brand, but also of the timeless look, the sophistication that we put into it, the intentional thought that we have put forward for our brand. We have very, as you can see here, it's laser cuts. It's called Malatjie, that's the name of the brand. But I'll walk you through it throughout the conversation. So what we're trying to do is pioneer in an industry where lack of representation of African brands into the eyewear industry is yet to set its mark, and we're trying to change that through our vision, which is showcasing African craftsmanship, and through our mission with collaborating with African brands and introducing them into the eyewear industry, or particularly African designer eyewear industry. So that's just somewhat of a background.
A lot to take away from that.
Yes.
Some impressive points, especially what you led with, because I know off camera you're wondering which ones to put there, and I suggested another one, and you made sure that Malatjie's one was in the front. So I think I get that a lot, and I mean, it's something that one can only admire, that a visual impairment in your loved one sparked something, because when I held it I can feel that
steadiness.
There's a lot of work put into it, but more than that, there's like the story is weaved in the details. And you spoke about craftsmanship and African representation so much that I know that you are coming from a place where we've been having it, right? It's almost like this Eyewear is just another way to say to people who think of us as less that no. And when I look at all of this, it's something I wish like you could be everywhere in terms of accessibility, and the story itself could be told over and over, because I mean, I've said in this discussion, obviously in earlier episodes with another guest that was telling me that we've been made to forget our power and the strength that you're talking about. And I think that is why I guess you are sitting in this chair, because you are a brand that's sitting there reminding us about that quality is not a new thing to us, and being synonymous with being African is not subpar. Definitely not. It's not a let me support you, my brother. No, it's I'm looking for a solution for my eyes. Can you provide that? Can you custom make all the things that I would have if I was in any other country, for example, and you are doing that beautifully, and I thought that the story needed to be told. That is why you are here. But more than that, talk to me about your journey in business, because to put something together like this, you've got to take a hiding that nobody sees. And those are the nuggets I am personally as an entrepreneur after. How has it been getting to this level?
One thing I can say, we all have our path, right? But we don't walk with, like, you're never in a journey alone, right? So at least myself, although I have my fair share of whooping, right? But one thing that I've realized, being an entrepreneur, it creates a certain level of tenacity, right? And also your vision has to be bigger than your problems.
Hey, I hear that one.
Like your vision has to outweigh any circumstance, because circumstances come and go; they're not permanent, right? But your vision has to have so much weight that it looks past you. Are you okay with someone else pushing the vision outside yourself? But are you setting the right infrastructure for someone to maintain that?
Yes, right? Of course.
So my nuggets have always been, I consider myself a blank canvas. So I like learning. I like working with people who are very efficient, very smarter than me, because you always learn a lot, even through just engaging with a stranger. It doesn't have to be someone serious, I pay attention to what people say, how they act, how they represent themselves, and you always need to have someone that you can look closely to, but not be them. Right? Because that's where people miss it. They wanna mirror someone they look up to, and then you end up losing your own spark, and you wanna feed on a flame that's not your own. You need to harness that spirit first, making sure that you see yourself being that person. Do you visualize it so much that it paralyzes you if you're not it, and then and through all challenges, as cliche as it sounds, mistakes, lessons come in difficulty. Diamonds go through pressure for them to be diamonds, and you just need to withhold the pressure, the stress, the overwhelmingness, and also you don't have to have it figured out.
Yeah, not all at the same time.
No. So the only thing that you can do for yourself, be consistent with your vision. That's it. And what that means is, even if today you don't feel like it, it's okay. Have a rest day. Most people know, get up and go work. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's not. You're a human being. You need to rejuvenate. And during those low days, listen to your body, rejuvenate, sit down, because also it's an aura. when you are heavy, people can feel that. And then you're gonna repel business.
Exactly.
You're gonna repel people who are gonna. You're gonna repel destiny helpers. You're gonna repel people who are gonna manifest your vision because you're not well rested, and you need to well rest first. So I take pride in that. I work hard, extremely hard, but I know when it's time to rest. It's time for me to rejuvenate, and it's all the small lessons like that. It's not necessarily big business deals, big corporate discussions, or it's nothing like that. It's based on your lifestyle habits. How do you deal with stress? How do you deal with disappointment, rejection? And you need to build up a system that you don't cave. Even if you do cave, you have the right support structure around you who can lift you up. It could be mentors, it could be family, it could be close friends. Yeah, you just have to have that ecosystem around you so that you flourish as an entrepreneur. If you lack that, you're gonna have a really strong problem making it in life. Because you need connection, you need support, you need people who you can rely on. Yeah, so I think that's how I've tried to navigate my way through this journey. I did have my fair share of hardship, but I do have my fair share of being proud. Not
you can also be proud in hardship,
Yes.
because you're talking about resilience and grit in what you just said, but you first have to understand about seasons. That this circumstance is not going to last forever.
Yes.
And I'm proud of the fact that I'm embracing that I am here.
Yes.
Instead of what you're doing, what you're saying, talking about where, I love our attitude as South Africans, Foster, but there is somewhere where you are going to sound salesy, or that you are pitching from a hungry style, which I mean, nothing's wrong with. I mean, you should, but I feel like the energy then is palpable.
Yes.
But those things, they come later as realizations, right?
Yes.
We all have those initial steps where it's really uphill for a long time.
Yes. Of course.
And I think that's where a lot of people just, I know when I started my journey, it was still 2018, I think, and no cooking clue about things like COVID would ever affect, no foresight or any of those things. And you make heavy investment because it feels good, right?
Yes.
It's flowing because it's something you've always wanted to do.
Yes.
And then there's this hard, deadlock. That's posing as a soft deadlock, by the way. Remember, lockdown, 21 days, we'll all be out of here.
2 years.
And next thing, you know how it changes your life, your energy, and realigns how you look at things. There are people out there, Noko, and I know sometimes it's unfairly placed on us,
Yes.
who we've got the responsibility to, invigorate,
Yes.
for lack of a better way, just their efforts, because, and they look at you and you're like, oh, brother is smooth. How do you connect with somebody like that? Because they're going to be like, probably born with a silver spoon in their mouth, or a cheese boy.
Yeah, the be. So I grew up in Elamont. That's in Durban. That's one of the roughest townships in the country. And I'm from Mitsingis in Panagokas. But through experience, and also I've been fortunate to be in positions where I've had somewhat of a decent education. I have very hardworking parents, so I'm thankful for that. But also exposure. Like Ratadilo. Yeah,
Okay.
there's nothing wrong.
Well, now Ratadilo, how has let you here? Ratadilo,
I'll put this right. So whenever I go to the township, I always recognize the information gap. It's drastic, right? Especially even in just normal business literature, how to put up a deck, how to pitch, how to do evaluation, how to run your numbers, all that. Very big gap, but everyone has such big dreams. There's so many great ideas. Like I remember with my friends would sit down, hey, we need to have like a nice, very nice restaurant where we put people come from Europe, and all just to try connect and make them have that gassy flavor, right? But you can't learn business without you practically practicing it every day. And there's no golden book. You have to try and fail. Try.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, and also success doesn't come overnight.
Sure. No.
But it does come in the form of growth. Right. So you might not be where you want to be financially, or whatever infrastructure, like your infrastructure in 10 years, but in your presence, realize what you've done. So in your presence, know where you've come from, what you had to go through, and that itself is a success journey. You don't have to have big milestones as having an award. Those are globally recognized things, but you need to start from within, self-validation. And you don't have to be pompous or arrogant, but you deserve a tap in the back, like, hey, are you serious? And then, because that's what you need, because in some days, you like to hear that from the very same people that you want to hear it from. And that's, could be very close family. They see you trying this thing and they're like, you've been trying it for so long, you're not really right? And I've been doing this for like 8 years. The first half of that, I had to deal with people, well, projecting their own fears, their own insecurities of, you never make it. I'm like, that's on you. I have a bigger vision than myself. If when I came as projects like a strategy, it's fine. Think like that, right? But you should allow yourself to be able to take criticism in such a harsh way that it doesn't have to be a reality. Because when people start, especially if it comes from someone that you really admire or respect, that can crush you.
It can.
It can crush you. It could be a mentor, especially in business. We find that you're trying to propose a vision and someone's just not getting it. They're like, no, this isn't going to work. And if you go with that mindset of that person, you're really lost. Because you don't need that validation. You just need to make sure you need to knock another door. And it could be in a very tight spot where you feel like, I need to give up. And then God shows you his mercy. And then he introduces people that's going to just lift you up like, no, I see you put in so much work. This is what's possible. And then through those small steps, you get the nuggets of, I can do this. I can really do this, you know? And then you find yourself in these spaces, connecting with different people, connecting with different minds, getting different ideas, collaborating. And then that's where you breathe a new journey for yourself. That true self-discovery of you being a legend, you being a pioneer, you being a maverick in whatever field that you're doing. But through consistency, that's what you can get it. Consistency, discipline. I know those words are used. So, you know, but they yield true results. It might not be financial, but if you're consistent from wherever you've been, you're 10 times better from where you started. When I started, I didn't know anything about design. Zero. I just had a strong passion for design to turn into something tangible. How that came along was through wanting to know. Always have an open heart to learning. Always have an open canvas so that people can pour into you. If you don't know, ask the right questions. Don't feel like I'm too fresh for this, because you never get the right answers and the right people to help you understand a different side of life or different perspective. So.
Yeah, pride is a barrier to learning, a barrier to hearing.
Yes.
And
definitely.
what I'm hearing you say is speaking about, you know, your support system they sometimes do get fatigued as well.
Yes.
You know, support fatigue. And you're talking about, over and over about the resilience part, which I'm sure completely resonates with what are watching. But another critical element that you've mentioned is how the knowledge gap. You are speaking about how you didn't study this, but you've had to teach yourself. For me, that's like there's no match for that. The attitude to continually wanting to learn. And I think now there are enough resources out there to find out anything for free. You know, you get people that feel as though, you know, not having a formal education, for example, is a barrier to anything. And you know, when you hear the stories of, in our country alone, we've got enough examples of people who may not have had the opportunity. Maybe now they're choosing because of you know, ultimately, you know, getting that success. But maybe they're choosing now not to pursue formal study. But can you maybe talk a little bit more about that? How important is it that if you're going to venture into something, passion project, entrepreneurship, or like maybe you're going to start a career from scratch, how much the responsibilities is on you to self-learn? Well, if there is such a term.
I think there is, because I think I did it. So one thing, there's a saying, I'm not sure if I'm going to say it as word for word, but before a master becomes a master, they need to become a student. So the art of you mastering something, which means you have to fail on it so many times until you start mastering it. And I think what people really fear is failure. And which is okay, like everyone does. I mean, you've been instilled that from preliminary stage, from primary school, don't fail, and that really boxes people. And it's important for you to understand whenever you fail, it's just a lesson learned. That's it. Whether it's life, whether it's everyday business, if you fail once, it's just an opportunity for you to look at things differently. Let me make it practical for entrepreneurs. If you pitch today to a VC or to a fund and to an investor, they say no. Your first question should be, but why am I not getting this? No. The question you should ask them, how can I improve from what you just said? What bullet points should I just take? And then potentially open up a room in the future. So even in your failure, try to find a window of opportunity. It could be just extending your lifeline. Like, I know you said no today. Let's try sometime in the future when I've gathered what you just told me. That's having an open campus. So now they can point to you. No, you had it wrong with your valuations, your expenses are too high, blah, 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 all stuff like that. And then when you get back to the drawing board, because you've really failed, I'm like, okay, I didn't do this right. If you're arrogant, you won't pass through that stage. And if you negative, they don't know what they're talking. If they don't know what they're talking about, why are they in that position? They might not be right.
Yes.
But learn from what they're saying. So that if you encounter it, if you have to encounter it in the future, you know how to navigate it. You don't have to believe in it. You just know how to navigate through it. Right? And that comes with experience. You have to try until it becomes so like part of your personality, part of your being. If you get a no today, it's okay. Let's keep knocking the doors. Let's keep knocking the doors. The past 8 years, when first time I started, first 2 years, I didn't know what to do. How to get in touch with the manufacturers, designers, how to get the product ready for market, all those stuff, right? But because I had a strong urge in terms of, I want to make something out of myself. I might not have the plan.
Not yet anyway.
I might not have the education or the finances or anything that can bridge that gap to expedite my process to be where I'm going. But if I get someone who can just listen to what I'd like to learn, that's more than enough. Don't ask people for money, just ask for information, because that information is going to lead you to financial plan. And that financial plan might take a while, it can take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's a financial plan. You're already starting. School is also a financial plan, because you go through school for you to get work. Entrepreneurship, you have to get information for you to close contracts, right? So it's just bridging which financial plan that you are in. If you're going through this, if you're going through education, that's good. You can get a corporate job. 10 years down the line, you're an executive. If you're an entrepreneur, your real skill is learning. Get as much as information as you can. Have an open canvas. Rather be the kid in the class that says, accept, right? Because you learn at a faster rate and you gather information, and you're also going to start seeing opportunities where other people might not be seeing, because you're having an open mind to learning. And what I'd say for, to people who are currently, and also people not just entrepreneurs, if you're currently facing struggle right now, think about currently where you are and just look backwards. Where are you from? Which means you're not in a losing situation compared to where you're from, right? If you're from a dire circumstance, then this is just another uphill. It's not a struggle. It's something that, oh man, I've been through that. This is part of the journey. The journey is never easy. It's lonely, of course. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of mental health issues in that. But your foresight needs to be so much stronger than your circumstance. That whenever you look at your foresight, it gives you some sort of spark. Let's try get this. I might not feel like it today. I might not get it today or tomorrow, but also the way to it. When you keep trying, when you keep pursuing it intentionally, letting God know, this is what I want. Help me get there.
True.
Be consistent in it, and then eventually the more you make it happen for yourself by doing this, the very small things that are consistent to get you there, there's no way for you to fail. Even if you have a period of struggle or a period of uncertainty, if you can keep that constant, you break through that shadow, you break through that ceiling, that dark cloud, and then trust me, on the other side it's so much sweeter. You know, but also within that sweetness, there's bittersweet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you need to navigate all those. And I like to say, when things go bad or good, always maintain calm flow. If things are good, don't be trying to brag, hey, I have it all good. No. Be humble. If things are bad, be humble, trust in God. Like, this is not gonna last. Like, God is also can humble you enough so that you don't be pompous, so that you don't be prideful. Be humble enough that it can be taken away from you or it can happen for you. So you need to have find that level ground. I think.
Yeah, on the general, I struggle with the word humble.
I'm not saying humble in a way that defeats your craft. I'm not humble about what I do. I'm great at what I do. In fact, I'm the best at what I do. But I'm not saying I'm not humble. I'm humble enough to understand I can learn better. I can do so much more than this. But I'm not saying I'm not great at it.
No.
Then
we are on the same page.
Yes.
Because, you know, I also feel like it's one of those, it's like an African principle, if you may.
Yeah.
But with time, you find that you ask yourself, was this whole notion of staying humble not meant to keep us, you know? I get it, and my humility needs to not infringe. I need to respect you and you know, treat people with kindness. I need to not be, but there is this energy about being proud of ourselves that people feel like to move inside but like I struggle with that, because humility should not hamper on, you know, our greatness or the light that we represent out there. And it's not that you are not being humble, it's the fact that, you know, you are confirming what the people that came before you knew about you even before you were here, by being on, you know, like, look where you are now. I legitimately get that things can be taken away, but are we now, you know, need to always think about could be, you know, if it's a moment for I am damn good and I just did the best job I could at that, you know, even if you're just telling yourself, I feel like, you know, it's good. And in answering my previous question, you mentioned how people are so scared of failure, and it happens for a while, right? For a while, and then you reach a phase where, where I see you as, I mean, you can still correct me, and you become sort of afraid of success in the way that, because you've reached this level, one, are you able to sustain it? Two, are you able to surpass it?
Imposter syndrome. Well, I like to say, so it also depends. It's different for everyone, right? I have to look at where I come from.
Of course.
Right? And whenever I look at my mom is like always, that's enough for me to, you know. But you get to a point where even if you fail, no matter how hard you fail, sometimes you feel like quitting. You are gonna quit. It's a reality. People do quit. Successful people, they've quit a lot of times. The only thing that difference, they went back into the race. I started 8 years ago through those inconsistencies. Stop, quit. But it was the knowing.
Because you started from experience.
Yes.
This time.
And it was like also just the knowing. This is what's right for me. And everyone else can come with their projections. I want you to be a doctor, I want you to be a lawyer. You know, things that are gonna give them status. It's not really good for you. You need to separate from that quickly. Right?
As it may, because you feel like you owe them rights.
Yeah. Also, I just believe that if people are really wish you good, really want the best for you, they'll take a risk on you. With whatever that you want, your endeavors, your failures, everything. The greatest form of love is patience. So if you fail today, you gotta be patient enough that I will make it. It might not be good today, but eventually we'll be okay.
I trust that. And I trust it in you, which is why I'm going to ask you, because I know there's a special story about home, you know, but go tell it.
The brand name or the name?
The name.
So growing up, I used to be called, like, you know, when you grow up, they have so many nicknames when you're growing up. So my grandma used to call me Omeko. It's not a recognized word in English, not a recognized word in a lot of languages, but it's as our African names, you know, African pet names, they just come out of thin air, you know. So, but what that signified for my grandma was perseverance, because I was so driven as a kid. I wanted to do things by myself. No, I'll do it. No, I'll do it. Like, it won't make all right, and then for the longest time, it's stuck. But what stuck was someone seeing a vision before me. Someone seeing how great I was without me realizing. And sometimes you need people like that. You know you're great, but like, you can be greater. Someone needs to flare up that flame, put oxygen onto that fire so that you flame, right? And whenever I was doing something because I believed in the purpose that I was instilled with as a young boy. I can do whatever I need to do to accomplish in this life, and that was the name signifies. It's just a testament of ambition, beauty in ambition. So Omeko and Atilia is just a testament to the beauty of ambition. That's what it is. It's just simple. Because I'm a very ambitious person. I like the finer things in life. I work hard for them, but I also like having the idea of a healthy family. Right. So the brand name started from that. So the company name is Ome and Meko. So what I did, I just split the words into two. So Om and Meko. And then the brand name is Om Atilia. So that's our in-house brand. So this is, we're gonna see it with the Y signature that signifies our years conversions and our signature detailing. So the name resonates to me and everyone who has that ambitiousness, that has grit, endurance, having a bigger vision for life, and having a thirst for life, you know. And that's what I want the name to signify for anyone. Could be me, could be anyone in this room. It's just a testament to the beauty of ambition. That's what the name means. That's what I want the name to carry to everyone else who's going to purchase the product. You're not buying because you're also buying to support us and supporting our vision and mission, but also you're buying it because it's your testament to whatever ambition that you want in life. And trust me, if you work hard enough for it, you are there's a saying that my mom used to always say: you can't be so great at something that God doesn't give you the grace to bring you the right people to manifest your dream, to manifest your vision. So grace will find you in your work.
So you've got to keep on working.
You have to. No matter whatever season you're in, you have to. You can be a good season, a bad season. Grace is going to find you in your work. Grace in terms of opportunity, in terms of alignment, being at the right room at the right time. That's grace. Because you might not know who's in the room, and then you can walk out with a really good deal. But that's grace. It finds you in your work. It finds you in your work, not in your element, but in your work. Which means in your work you can be a starter, a intermediate, or a very successful person, but it's in your work. And that's when grace finds you. It can lift you from nothing to something, or it could lift you from something to something bigger. So it's in your work, and I take pride in that. And that's why I just want to, for the brand, I just want people to know this is a testament of ambition. And in whatever that you do, grace is going to find you in your work, and you are going to get what you envision. You just have to keep your head in it. Don't waver. Just keep that thing that keeps you up at night, that makes you toss and turn, that makes you want to pull out a pen and paper and a diary just to write down that. Keep that thing very close, because that's where your answer is. That's where the life that you envision, that's where it lies. The thing that haunts you at night, that you can't stop thinking about it. Wherever even you just zone out with people, trust me, that's the one thing for you, and it's gonna happen.
I believe that. I believe that, and that resonates so much personally, and I know our viewership and our tracers out there are gonna find it very, very useful. When I listen, I hear, you told me about how the first 2 years you knew nothing. I hear someone that the Noko of those 2 years,
yes.
needed, and perhaps they didn't meet earlier enough or what. And some of those people are watching.
Yes.
You know, in conclusion, if you could just, you've done a lot to, I think, stir up something inside of them.
Yes.
You know, but it is the relatability for me. Especially with youth being faced with so many challenges in today's time, and in the spaces that they find themselves, perhaps they are no role models because, you know, adults also are dealing with their own challenges. Yes. So how can a person in that circumstance self-regulate, self-align, and spur themselves into some sort of action that will bridge where they find themselves to where you are? Just in closing.
That's a tough one. Okay, I'll have to relate it to how I did it. But it might not be the same for the next person, but I think there could be some nuggets there. Also, you're not a product of your environment. As much as they say your environment plays a huge role in terms of how you're gonna perform economically, the kind of person you're gonna be. I like to strongly disagree with that. I'm from a very strong, I wouldn't say, but like, it was a very challenging environment in both cases, in Timbis and Asilamont. Very challenging. But I wasn't the product of my environment, right? And that comes with what, like when you sit down with yourself, like when you're having an honest conversation, also try to visualize your thoughts into pen and paper. So what I did, and I remember I was in grade 11. It was towards the prelims, prelims, and I was left with a very tough decision. Do I take the doctor's route? Because everyone that in my home, but also I've preached it so long that, but I don't know what being a doctor is. I just heard having a high status, and I had to sit down and like, what am I strong at? And like, you need to praise yourself on all the strong points you are. And I just said, I'm strong at this, I'm strong at that, and then I started visualizing where do I want to be outside from the environment that I know. And then I started thinking, we have television. For people who don't have television, walk around. Nature is your biggest inspiration, trust me. There's so much more that the eye can see. So what I did was expose myself to new places, new people. I used to go to Sanson with just one taxi. It's just one ride fare, and then just to see what the other side of life was. And I started seeing these big buildings. I remember seeing the Mazda Hotel. I'm like, wow, I wonder people who live here, what do they do in life? And the more I started frequenting places like that, I got inspired. Even though I didn't have no steady role model or someone that I looked up to who's actually living that life, but I always envisioned that I want this for myself. I want this for my family. I wanted more outside for myself, right? And you just have to expose yourself to opportunities, to people who can be your destiny helpers. Be in a room where you feel like you don't belong. Be in that room.
Powerful.
Be in that room where you feel like I'm feeling shy, I'm feeling so out of place. You have to be in that room. Otherwise, why are you in that position in the first place? So be in that room, take up that space, and then trust me, you find your way. You don't have to have it figured out. No matter how tough it is, you don't have to have it figured out. Just have one thing that you can align yourself with, one thing that you believe in, and then just keep at it.
You had me at learn as well. A big pillar of our conversation today. So I've enjoyed getting to know you and getting to know how your mind works, because that's always something. People see the end product, they're like, how did I man you know? So it's been such a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time. I know our viewers have found at least one of the things that you've said useful. And we wish you well. We are proud of you and your success, and we can only look up to what you're going to do next, because you know, knowing that you can do it makes us believe that it's definitely attainable.
And we're doing it for every African child on the planet.
Yeah.
So if I can do it, you can do it, no matter what your circumstances. You can do it. You just have to have that testament of the beauty and ambition.
That's
and
all
collaborate.
That's all we have time for.
Yeah.
Noko, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Download the Trace Academia app on the link below and find yourself some inspiration. It's not only a free, unlimited learning app, but it is where you can suss out where you can align your skills or your passions with something that could possibly help you become the next Noko Malatjie. That's all we have time for. Thank you very much.